Give me a second. Okay, ready? All right. Braces, glasses, and crutches. I dreamed of having those things. I was an odd kid, right? I had a good life, I had a good family, a mom, a dad, a brother, lived in a white house with a white picket fence. I went to public elementary school, friends, life was pretty good. But like so many kids, I wanted things I didn't have. I wanted Zoe Gooding's cowlick. I wanted to play the flute like Cheryl Rainford. But what I really wanted more than anything was to feel normal. And for me, that meant feeling American. I didn't realize till probably 5th or 6th grade that my family was different. Excuse me. My mom's French, so she speaks with her hands, and born and raised, has a thick accent. It also means that when I was little, we'd eat things like mushrooms picked by the side of the road after a recent rain. She'd go out with a little basket and she'd collect them. She'd serve us snails on these cool little round, plates with the funny little shells and the tools and all that. And it wasn't until a kid from school would come over and sit down in front of something like a plate propped up on an upside down fork with a little bit of homemade vinaigrette at the bottom and a huge artichoke at the top. And I'd look at their face and think, oh my God, something is different here, right? My dad was American, second generation Italian American, but like truly American. And he met my mom in his all things French phase. She completed that picture in a very cool way. He was a doctor. He passed on a really fancy orthopedic surgery path and decided to become a town doctor at the university. So we weren't rich. He had summers off, which meant we could travel. It also meant that my dad could make art because he was really an artist in his heart of hearts. And he drew, he wrote poetry, but what he really liked to do was weave. So our house was just covered with tapestries. We had a capillary under a microscope in the dining room. In the hallway by the kitchen, we had a self-portrait, which had sheep's wool for his beard, and he had strung a stethoscope through it. But his big, pièce de résistance was a huge wall-size covering featuring the face of Fidel Castro. He took even his Vietnam fatigues and shredded them and built them into the tapestry. My parents were revolutionary socialists. They took us on the week. They were power to the people, equality for all, and this is early 80s. And they took us to parties to honor Che Guevara, And so, again, little by little, you're starting to go, oh, this is not what everyone's doing with their weekends, right? I'm in 6th grade, March. I get picked up by my dad and my brother in this big yellow fake wood-sided station wagon, and I hop in the back seat, and we pull out onto the salty March roads, and my dad says, guys, I have 2 things I want to tell you. I'm in the back, and he says, I haven't been feeling well, and I went to the doctors, and it turns out I have cancer. And I'm in the back, sitting there close in, I can't hear anything except my heartbeat in my ears, and I'm hot. And I wanted to, what did he say? Stop talking, he's still talking. And I look at my brother, and he's looking out the window, and I, for once, have nothing to say, and I'm just sitting there. And I finally catch my breath and come back into the car, just in time to hear my dad say, so I thought we should go get a puppy. And we do, and we go get a puppy. And then we go home with the puppy and the cancer. And my parents had recently reconciled after a really brief separation. So we're now living with reconciliation, cancer, and puppy. It was kind of like living with invisible landmines everywhere, right? It's tender, it's scary, it's raw. You don't want to step on one or things are going to get too deep and too scary. Really uncomfortable, tough time. But it was a great time to start middle school. So in my town, middle school meant 5 elementary schools smushed together, right? Which inevitably means the social fabric's torn up at each school, and it creates this sparkly, shiny, new popular crowd, of which I was not a part. I could see it, I could do virtual cartwheels around the edges, but it was not happening. I'd cut my hair like everybody, but my hair was curly, so it just didn't do the things. I finally got Jordache jeans, and they'd all moved on to Gloria Vanderbilt. Like, it just was not happening. It must have been around like Halloween, Thanksgiving. I'm in health class, and the teacher's talking about the body and disease, and says, does anybody know what cancer is? And I'm like, oh, I do. You know, so she calls on me, and I say, yes, my dad has cancer. And it was like, tick, 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 all eyes on me. And I'm in my head going, oh, what have we here? I have found the cancer card. And I start to play it everywhere. I'm like, you're cold. That's nothing. My dad's got cancer. You and your sprained ankle. My dad's going through chemo. Like, I was milking it, and it was doing things, you know, like I was getting attention, and that was the name of the game. And once in a while, someone would say to me, like, hey, your dad has cancer. Doesn't that mean he's gonna die? And I'm like, no way, man. My dad's a doctor. He's totally got this one figured out. And I firmly believed it. Like, in my heart of hearts, I believed it all the way up until one day in February when he died. He was at work one day, and on the next day he was gone. My brother and I were driven on this snowy morning to the hospital to say good morning before school. But instead of good morning, we said goodbye. And it was, you know, we stepped into the after, right? You know, the bifurcated life. And so there we are, and there I am. And I'm 12, and my dad's like my guy. He like got me. He was wired like me, thought like me. It was just so easy to be with him, right? Like that guy. And he's gone, and I'm 12. So somewhere after, you know, the funeral, the flowers, the friends, the family, the food, all the things, I announced that I want to go back to school. It's been like 5 days. My mom's like, she wants structure, she wants to be with her friends, and that was all true. But I also had like this voice in the back of my head going, jackpot, like get back to school. So I get my note, and I get in my best pink and gray outfit and my tree-torn shoes, and I march to the office, and I hand the secretary my note, and she grabs my hand and looks at me with these kind, sad blue eyes and says, I'm so sorry about your father. And I'm like, oh, I'm flooded with shame, right? All I'm thinking about is being popular, being accepted, being wanted, and I've shoved my grief so far down, and I'm 12, right? Like, what else do I want? So I turn and I go out and I do my thing, and it works. I'm invited to boy-girl parties, to sleepovers, to lunch tables. Like, it is happening, it is on. And I'm doing pretty well, you know, humming along. And around May, I come home one day and my mom's in bed. She's still, you know, grieving. It's a process. And she says, I'd like you to go to a friend's tonight. I want you to sleep over. I'd like some time. I said, all right. And the phone's ringing. I'm like happy to get away from her. I answer the phone. I said, hello. And it's my friend Michelle. And she says, how are you? I'm like, I'm good. My mom's so lame. She wants me to sleep at someone's house. Can I sleep over? She's like, okay. And so I yell upstairs, Mom, I'm going to sleep at Michelle's. And in my ear, I hear, this isn't Michelle. This is Lori DiCarlo. And I'm like, oh my God, it's Lori DiCarlo. Like, Lori DiCarlo, like, was it. She had all the things. She had jet black hair and freckles and braces and 2 parents and 2 sisters and a golden retriever. And she was calling me, and I just invited myself to sleep at her house. And all I could think of to say was, oh. And she's like, it's okay. If you still need to sleep over, you can. And the words still and need should have stung, maybe dissuaded me. They did not. I went to her house. I kept going to her house. By the end of the school year, I pretty much taken up semi-permanent residence at the DiCarlo household. And that summer, Lori took my grief and transformed it into this epic makeover. She helped me fix my hair. She dressed me in her sister's clothes. She even went so far as to choreograph my first kiss with a boy down the street. And her house was heaven. It had pizza, popcorn, Diet Coke, TV, shag carpeting. It was like my house of revolution and pain was so far away. The first day of 8th grade, Lori and I met out front in our agreed upon mini skirts, denim jackets, jelly shoes with the little socks folded over and the ruffle, the G-Nate spray at the ready in the bag. We were there. We marched through those metal industrial doors, and Lori hand-delivered me to the sparkly crowd. And they accepted me with enthusiasm. I had made it. I was in. I found out about 25 years later that Lori's parents made her call me that day. And little did they know that one forced act of kindness, right? You have a classmate, be nice, she's going through some stuff. It would launch an epic friendship that has now spanned over 40 years.
Oh my God.
And it has secured my place, permanent surrogate place, in an American family, and given me so much more joy and satisfaction than any amount of braces, glasses, crutches, or attention could have given me. Thank you.